All right, welcome everyone. Today is Wednesday, June 18th. This is the City of Wilmington Parks and Rec Advisory Board monthly meeting. In calling to order the meeting, first thing I'd like to do is thank Zach and Ron for the last 2 months that I haven't been able to be here and for guiding the helm, so I appreciate that.
We get your pay, right?
Yeah, right. I'll send it to you. Yeah. So the first order of business is a public comment period, but we thought somebody was going to be here, but obviously they were a no-show, and maybe we'll talk with Brush about that a little bit later. So the first order of business is the approval of the May 25 minutes. Everybody should have got that in their packet. Hopefully they had a chance to look it over and speak up if there's any typos or any changes to that. Hearing any changes, there's a motion to approve the May 25 minutes. So moved by Alexis, second. Second by Franklin. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, we got that. No staff today, so old businesses continue on our annual work plan, and turn that over to Sally.
Wonderful, thank you. All right, in your packets, you do have a list of challenges and opportunities that you came up with in our last meeting. Hopefully you had a chance to take a look at those. But what we've done for you today is posted all of the opportunities up on the board over there. And what we're gonna ask you to do is we'll give you each 3 dots, and you can prioritize your top 3, because the goal here is to come up with 3 action items, 3 goals that we can move forward to your annual work plan, goals that you'd like to accomplish over the next 1 to 2 years. So if it's helpful, I could just read through those opportunities quickly. Maximize assets and resources, creating more friends of groups, commercial sponsorships, UNCW and CFCC student involvement, engage differently, plant giveaways, bike tune-up and education, youth representation on the board, invite city council member as a guest, focus on pathways to the parks like bike lanes and multi-purpose paths, connect parks with schools, invite students to parks near their school and make them more aware and immersed in their local parks. Riverfront, how can it be used by kids more? Greenfield Amphitheater and Live Oak Bank Pavilion, free programming for youth and getting youth involved and aware. Booth tabling at concerts by the Parks Board members to share info and raise awareness about parks and recreation programs. Visit more parks individually or as a group. Hosting Parks Board meeting at parks facilities, an opportunity to hear more from the public that use the parks. NRPA accreditation, use news outlets to raise awareness about parks and recreation, and podcast.
Podcast stretch goal.
Stretch
I
goal.
didn't see that attainable.
So if you want to, you can go ahead and get up and move over to the board, and Kim will hand you some dots. I said use green dots, but whatever dots.
It doesn't matter.
Because we'll just count them up, and the ones that have the most votes. And
Everybody
Ingrid,
just gets 3.
Ingrid, if you want to just put it in the chat or let us know.
Pardon?
Ingrid, if you want to put it in the chat or let us know which ones you want to vote for, we can put your
Okay.
dots there for you.
All different colors. Yeah, you can use whatever color you want. Doesn't matter. Just use 3.
Where's my chat?
Hi, Zach and Lemetrius. Welcome to the meeting.
Hey, how are you doing? And thank you.
So
This
just
is my
a
first
quick
time reading.
recap. We're looking at our list of opportunities that you developed in the last meeting and picking your top 3 to put dots on the board. So if you want to put your top 3 in the chat,
You'll have
we
to
can
walk-
put your dots
have a
over there
vote.
for you.
Yeah.
Because what we're trying to do is come up with our top 3 action items to work into the work plan for the next 2 years.
This guy's.
So let us know how we can help.
Okay, thank you.
Podcast. Yeah, you gotta be careful about inviting students to use the parks, because then we ban parking at Laney's.
Yeah.
That's gonna cross.
You trying to get to the chat?
I don't think they have a chat.
Yeah,
You don't have a chat.
I'm
Tell
not
us
sure.
or send an email.
That's not good.
Sorry.
You only get 3. Who's watching them? I see some people putting 10 up.
Or bike lanes. But there's all these cars, they don't want bike lanes.
Bike lanes that just end, no place to go. That's what we just did.
Yeah.
Well, no, they will go somewhere, the trees that were cut down and
Oh,
hard.
we gotta talk about those trees, all my neighbors, I live right across the street from the trees.
Yeah,
Where there are no trees.
Well, there will be bike lanes. Part of the reason that the trees are gone is because the road has to be widened. And there will be bike lanes on our
Supposedly there's a bike lane across the street, but it's only this wide now. Because of all the trash and or the dirt or whatever that.
Oh, it needs to be swept.
Needs to be pushed back.
Turn it
so
back.
that
Well,
bike
they would
lanes-
sweep it up,
Yeah.
like the stormwater, that
Yeah.
big.
I know, coming across, you're not allowed to ride your bike on the sidewalk anymore, you have to.
Yeah, you can.
No,
At
coming
Wrightsville
across the
Beach, you
bridge,
can.
Wrightsville Beach has said, no, you can.
Right, right, so beach you cannot, in Wilmington you can.
Yeah, right. Trying to get across the bridge, you have to walk now and then you can come back on once you get
Chairman
across
about
the
the vote.
bridge.
To me, not exactly where you're talking about, because I ride my bike to the beach all the time.
So coming across the Heidi Trask Bridge,
Yeah.
they have told you that you cannot ride on the sidewalk on the bridge. You have to walk,
That's right.
or you can ride across the bridge on the bridge and
Right.
get killed by all the cars on the bridge.
I ride on the sidewalk of the bridge because that is not actually right, so beach yet.
Well, they have put out all
I know, I've seen
all
stands.
sorts, yeah.
I do anyway. You're not gonna arrest
I
me.
just walk.
Yeah.
They'll try to.
They
better
will
think
they will
of it.
yell at you, the house will yell at you.
I do it every single week. I've never been.
So everybody yelled at.
Oh, thank you. You can reduce the size.
As for
Give yourself permission,
Right,
just
we
do it.
You can't be on the sidewalks over there anymore either, you know, if you're coming.
But
you know,
they
across the
actually
street from
made,
Reddick's.
bike lanes when
Yes,
they
they
did
did,
the paving, which
but
is
they
nice.
ended once you,
Well, if the road isn't wide enough, I mean,
Right.
they can't do it. They can't decrease the travel lane, so they've gotta work.
but those trees, did they get, you and I need to talk offline, because I
Well-
need to know if they got fined.
No, they followed the code. It was just that they were able to use an older version of the code because that's when the project was approved years ago. They just happened to
Even though-
start it now.
Isn't the project different? Because we were told it was gonna be a hotel and now it looks like it's gonna be
That's what it was gonna be
residential.
originally.
Yeah. It's gonna be a hotel.
But the site plan that was approved by the city is not a hotel. It's what they're building. And it was under a previous version of the code. And while it would be nice to revisit the trees,
You probably have 500.
there, that you can do it. I don't think, well, they couldn't have kept it, they would have been able to widen the road. And they were required to widen the road. In order to, is everybody on? Turn lane?
I think so.
The NTD, everybody's requiring them to.
Well,
do
it's
it.
already made.
Like, it's
Right.
doing-
Well, yeah, they can develop.
Yeah,
I was trying to orient.
Oh,
Yeah, because we're gonna
Yeah.
But anyway, those trees
Okay.
were on top of a gas
You
line,
guys wanna
so
talk
we wouldn't have any.
about
Yeah,
We need them.
For the- where the little one-
that image that you, what your top three are, or do you wanna tell me? what
I mean, it's true, we wouldn't have been able to,
Well,
plus they
Like
would.
organized events, but also like,
Yeah, and this is a cash. It's not a race. It's just
Power
a
lines
casual
above
ride.
that.
we do.
So
Got water
over the
stops
years,
along the way.
because
Can you hear me,
They
Ingrid?
weren't the prettiest trees.
I mean, no, it still would have been nice.
Puts it on there.
I agree, but there's just nuances that,
I like to know the whole story so I can tell people.
yeah,
But they're still not gonna like it.
they're not, it was, they followed the site plan, we went out, there were, I'll take that back, there were some trees they removed that were not on the plan for removal, so they will fine for that. But lower- But it was an older version of the code.
And they were grandfathered.
Well, it's just, we don't require, once a plan has been
That's what
approved
should be.
by the
Next, those.
Good. Tom, good.
Should have a
sling, should have a sling on right now.
What'd you do?
I like straight like a week and a half ago, and I guess it like,
They did it.
a lot of versus.
They did it.
And
The
they were
plan-
only like, oh,
No,
it's
no,
like-
Originally, but the
Better.
plan was on file, but it was approved by the council.
Who knows who to
Is
get
not-
signed
is
up.
not
I'm,
working.
in the town Saturday.
We always
I
check numbers out
think I'm gonna start this following
Yeah.
week. I gotta follow
He
appointment
was absolutely.
that week.
However many
and then probably
times.
South.
Something about that, 'cause the house.
Don't have your parasailing or water skiing.
I'm supposed to be fishing in Hatteras, but I don't think I'm gonna be, I don't think I'm gonna be,
They're planning to
really
do that.
oriented, you know,
Do you have your list?
which is kind of what I like to do anyway.
I do.
I'll bet you.
I like it.
I can't figure out the chat button.
There isn't one, I'm sorry.
Oh, okay, good. Well, I think interconnectivity was one of them.
Purse for the last four, two, first prize, the heaviest.
I mean, it.
150 grand.
The commercial.
All right, what was your first one, Ingrid?
The interconnectivity,
Interconnectivity.
I haven't seen that. I was gonna say, well, we did.
Are you looking in the opportunities?
yeah, I thought it was,
I think that's connect parks with schools.
yes.
Yes, okay.
And then what else did I have down? Hold on, I'm sorry, hold on one second. Utilizing UNCW and Cape Fear Community College,
Okay,
was that one on there?
yes.
Okay. And then the Riverwalk. What did we have about Riverwalk?
Riverfront,
Yeah, Riverfront.
okay.
Thank
All right,
you.
Demetrius, you're gonna be a tiebreaker. What do you have? I hope.
I concur with Ingrid.
Oh, you just wanna do the same ones as her?
Yes.
Okay.
Thanks, Demetrius.
You're welcome. Yes, I love the Riverwalk.
Yeah, we already got Zach. Okay, okay, so we've got Riverfront. And then we've got a tie for the threes. UNCW and CFCC student involvement. And then, thank you, invite city council member as a guest. And then use news outlets to raise awareness.
And the
about
hosting.
Yeah, the top one's
Oh, I
a
see. Okay, so we got four.
tricky one.
Hosting parks board meetings at park facilities, opportunity to hear more from the public that use the parks. So if we think about how we might turn these into goals or action items for our work plan,
Their work plan.
your work plan. You can either come and vote again on these four, and we can see who wins, wanna do that?
Some of those would be fairly easy, I mean, just combining a councilman. We could just do that anyways.
Is 5 considered too many to try and tackle?
I think it's because there were 4 second place places.
Wanna keep them all?
I mean, hosting, that isn't anything that y'all really need to do,
No,
where we locate our meetings, that staff can handle that. And it's something we've done in the past. Makes it, it's just a little tricky because it's a public meeting, so the notification has to be updated each time, and it can be a little bit confusing for the public, but we can overcome it.
Can I just ask a question? A lot of people voted for this one, and I just want to clarify, what do we get out of inviting a board member here?
Council member.
Council member.
They're the ones that vote on our, like our thoughts, right?
Allocated money.
You might get an idea of what we want.
What
I
they
don't know,
want.
I mean, I don't know how it gets it down, if he or she gets it down, I don't know.
Yeah, they're aware of the discussions and priorities of the advisory board, so.
But there are members, and the county has it, I mean, where they're actually on it, that'd be my personal preference, want to be on it, but.
Well, we brought this up last time, there really aren't any council appointed committees like the advisory boards that have elected officials on them.
Well, I'm
So
just
it would
thinking-
be, we would be the anomaly. And so I don't know if they would, if that's something that they'd be interested in.
That's-
Amy, how aware are they of, like, when we vote, like, on the master plan and stuff like that, our endorsement?
Quite. So every time we bring an item to you and we ask you to vote on it, it is because it's something that we're bringing to city council. And so we describe in our cover letter to the resolution or ordinance, whatever it is, that the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board supports us. So yeah, I don't know that you're gonna get a whole, there's certainly no harm, no foul in inviting them. I just don't want there to be big expectations that it's gonna change much. Have a big impact.
It may be, an idea if there's a new councilman who just got elected,
Yeah,
invite them,
yes.
say, hey,
That's
get
a good
them
idea.
on. People have been
Absolutely.
for a while, and that may be kind of the way to go, so they can get some idea of how engaged we are. and
Yeah, just tell you
everything,
about what we do,
Do,
the role we
sure,
serve.
Yeah, that's it. I remember that, your Christmas party, we had,
Who was it that came that first year? He was brand
a
new.
new young guy.
David Joyner?
Yes, he came to the Christmas
Yeah,
party
he's,
2 years ago when he first
He's
got on
great
board.
at reaching out. We actually took him on a tour of various parks and recreation facilities and spent a lot of time in the car with him and had conversations.
So could we change that to invite all new council members to at least one board meeting?
It's up to y'all.
Or at least extend the invitation.
Yeah.
Yeah, right, exactly.
So this is your opportunity next to wordsmith these into something that can actually be actionable. So if you'll note, on the back of your sheet, you've also got an action area worksheet. So what I'm gonna do is suggest that you break up into 2 groups, and I will hand you each 2 of these goals that you've decided are your priorities. And then it's up to you to fill the sheet out for each action area and make it into a SMART goal statement and answer some questions about it. So you can start thinking about how it can be achieved over the next year or 2 years. There's also a little cheat sheet on the back on what SMART goals are. Terry, you don't have one?
Well,
You can have mine.
It's in the biggest packet.
maybe if I look at your packet, this is just what I printed out.
Oh, okay. All right, so SMART goals are smart, so make your goals specific and narrow for more effective planning. measurable, so make sure there's a way that we can measure the achievement. Achievable, make sure you can reasonably accomplish the goal within a certain time frame. Relevant, so align it with your values and long-term objectives, and then time-based. So set a realistic end date to clarify when you want to try and achieve that goal. You guys pretty clear on what to do? All right, I'm gonna, I don't know if you want to just split into two groups like this. Maybe 4 and 4. Yeah, sorry. So I'm having them just shoot a little email with update, yeah. All right, so I'll give you guys the council member and the UNCW student involvement. Or we good about that, those two? So I'll just need one sheet on
Right,
for each
so
one.
work on
So we'll come up with two. And spend the next like 20-25 minutes looking at those. Do you feel like you got too ambitious of a pile here?
This one, we really don't need to do anything with, right?
That's right.
We got here,
So, yeah, so you'll
Those are-
just fill out one of these.
That's 3. It would be, she's on. They are on Zoom, our other members. These 3.
So,
Can all be free on the phone? I would.
Yeah, I think we can do it.
This one.
That's easy one.
Saturday, type thing. Summer might be a little tough, but when they start on one end of the river walk, you can have like a kids walk. And have a bunch of kids, you know, walk the river walk, and then at the pavilion do like flow sets, you know, or do something like that. where they have
Existing and new council members.
truck and-
So
You said whole council.
we, the board, are gonna do this,
Especially.
or we're programming for them,
I think
giving them programming.
Yeah, but
and you know, one
be
way.
careful
Yeah.
Because, relationship, but I know
you know,
Dawn
we
Graham,
don't have
and I can send
a
an email to
special
her, and
events,
she's the one who sends all these
program
emails
staff.
out to all the council.
We
members
facilitate
to get it to
special
them.
events by permitting them,
So,
but we don't have staff
I say, I think it has to
available
go
to
back.
plan.
Yeah, right, yeah.
What,
I say,
I
know everybody knows
would-
already.
consider is that,
Okay, so we got that one, UNCW.
the
CCC
city,
collaboration.
that the Parks and Recreation Department take actions to
Yes.
pursue the recommendations,
I
the
said
top
that's one.
recommendations in
Okay,
the
yeah, well, whatever, yeah,
CDP
sure.
Riverwalk assessment that was completed.
The other one's a matter of
Like
notice
18
too. I
months
don't know
ago.
how you through.
Have you guys ever seen a presentation on that? We should do that at an upcoming meeting. I'll make that presentation. The Riverwalk assessment. It was paid for with ARPA funding. So CBD actually contracted with the consultant, but
Go to
there's
him and
a
say, hey, look, you know, if we
city
have projects,
committee
how do we get the word out
that
to,
meets
you know,
regularly
to,
to
if
talk
they
about
need some hours
implementation
to
of
do
some of the
it. So that
recommendations.
would be one start.
And
Collaborate with
because,
AD, and I'll
um,
put your name.
our food and
Yeah,
beverage
yeah.
concessions program was eliminated with the.
Hey, I'm
adoption of
Yehu and you.
The budget last night. We are gonna,
All right, so measurable
what's that?
It was?
percent
Uh-huh.
ominous student athletes.
Hey, at least we're not the county.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
How
we,
about the horses, did they make
the
it?
horses made it. Yeah, so we, so we will no longer have, city, operated food and beverage concessions that we just.
But I mean,
do
it's
in
gotta be the
Russell
broad
Park.
communication method.
We're negotiating with New Hanover to take over the concessions at Legion since they're the primary
If they know how
user.
to address a letter.
And then we're entertaining some offers from the public to privately operate the
That's a
concessions
good
at
idea.
Olson. But so what that did was free up some time, for one of our staff members who currently,
Whatever
is
the
in
letter
charge of
is,
film
other than just
permitting,
invitation.
but also is in charge of
Be kind of
charge of the concession
what do we
program, so
do,
we're
you know,
directing her to keep
areas that may
the
be of
film
interest to
permitting,
them,
but
Like trails.
devote her time to activating the Riverwalk, and so taking
They
those,
might have
one of the recommendations in that assessment was increase activation of the Riverwalk.
Yeah.
And so she's gonna be developing a permitting program for if somebody wants to have a fitness class in front of the visitor center on the decking there, or do a, walking club or running club, or have vendors at little different pockets on the Riverwalk. So
Stand there on a hot day.
Mary Topalon.
Umbrella, Pass out flyers.
She said something out recently.
I did like that idea.
That's where I saw something.
Send something out?
Send something out, yeah, an email now.
Live Oak,
Somebody asked
concert,
about.
something like that.
Right.
Oh, no, that was an internal one.
Oh, and that's a
Like-
good graphic.
You see her name a lot because she's in charge of the film permits.
We can do that, is we can
Yeah, we
evaluate
good
and review
Oh,
more
done
efforts
Yeah. Cost
to
gotten up there so
assess
I know, I was about to say.
Riverwalk implementation.
That's what.
$200, big tickets.
We can't
Where does
really
the
give it work.
issues addressed?
Appreciate you raising that question.
Getting this
Oh,
accomplished.
good. We could,
Yeah, you could.
we could plan it.
You might not meet your goal.
Yeah.
Meet our goal. Okay, so.
But I think that's a great one. That's like really aligned
Credit?
with stuff that we
So
have.
what do we wanna
Yeah.
call
Is
this?
that a credit for doing public
Riverwalk.
service?
Yeah.
things? Is that what
Well,
it is?
activation.
Yeah.
Because that's really what you're trying to
For
get
being
at.
here
In
would give
in
me
this
the-
case, a subset would
Showing up
be
for-
Here for me,
But-
no.
if you increase it for everyone, and we can, because that is something that you want to do, we can take that under advisement when we're
I know
tasking
they showed
Mary
up
with
with
coming
four
up with
some, there was this, work day. at the
promotion of
Girls Club.
activities on the
Yeah.
Riverwalk.
Yeah, I was out of
In
town.
general, aren't there some volunteers that do history walk and history
wow.
tours of downtown?
They just
Wilmington?
chipped in and
The-
they're like, "Ooh, they thought they
So
could be there all
we do
day."
some internally, our
2 hours.
Their credits
cultural
out.
recreation
Yeah.
specialist does some guided tours.
Okay.
And then there's private companies that do them. I don't
Oh,
know
okay.
if there's any that are volunteer based.
Yeah.
But some
Do
of
they
those
do
she does.
anything at the
Big
Riverwalk,
beggars
or is it more
that-
like?
Have a
They
surge
do some downtown and
popularity
they've
because
done some,
they don't have this.
like kind of like ecology
big
focused
schools
ones
that
at
could
Riverhouse
raise
Park.
Okay,
I don't know,
yeah.
there's
money,
been
but
any exactly on the
the,
Riverwalk.
Yeah.
The NIL.
NIL.
Language wrong here, you guys will fix it.
Yeah.
Well, how Carolina's gonna survive? They
All
pay
the
out
members
big
of
money.
You're seeing some of the issues in the city council. I think like in the beginning of our year, which is July 1.
Yeah, I don't even know, so we had to,
If
we
we do it once,
unfortunately had to
file
eliminate 3
13,
part-time positions that people
but
actually work.
just do it on an
concession
annual
stands.
basis.
Yeah.
Just to get
Other
that.
departments, there was only one other department that was asked to eliminate a position that a person was in, and that person retired. They had been like 30 years.
You know, it-
All the
goal
other
is
positions that were
give them
eliminated
awareness
as part of the
of what
budget were
we do,
vacant. So we had another one that we eliminated
I
from
put, we put it there, I don't think.
from the
they know
maintenance
what's-
division, but it was vacant. But
I'm just thinking
in
on
the county,
issues
they
for
eliminated
UNCW,
70
I wonder
positions.
what
Wow.
we have to do.
And their Parks and
Give them
Recreation
something
director.
that say, yeah, he was
position
here,
is frozen.
I
She
wonder how
announced
that
her
works. They're gonna
retirement.
take something
Tara?
back, they just come and say.
Retiring?
We just have to
Yes,
find
she
out.
did
retire.
Well, she's
Yeah.
got 30 years left.
Does she really?
Yeah, she started straight out of college. Yeah.
Not more than probably a big handful. of them to
Yeah,
start
she's
with.
a couple years younger than me, so she's
I
a
like
good
the
thing.
idea of those,
Um,
some young
But
people
so she
being on
announced
this.
her retirement, I think she's gonna leave in September, and so that position is frozen, so I don't know what their plans are with that. I know I mean,
That's
they could
interesting.
fold them into the planning department or something, I don't know.
Wow, that'd be
They should've
great.
done all along and pulled the two of you together.
Well, that, I'm not against
It's
that,
on that thing.
but
Really?
it's a lot,
Everybody else
it's
does.
a lot more work than
You
people
know.
think it is, and I mean, when we created CPUA, that started out as a disaster. We've got different
I got.
enterprise systems, software, so it's.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine it.
Some of them. would
It would take, it would
likely
take
be
years to
utilized.
launch.
Yeah.
A couple of years.
It never made sense to me for a long time why we didn't have an interview.
They were vendors.
Because Hanover County is so small. But it's just, it's daunting. When I first got here, so like in the late 90s, it was a big topic of conversation, but that is around the time that CPUA formed.
A
and
lot of these
people got
ABC,
scared
what
because
individual
their
groups, I don't know
ops
if there's really much there, but the
disastrous.
first 3
And
steps,
then,
we kind of covered it there.
um,
You know, contact send an email to Dawn with like just a little invitation and contact Mike Oblinger.
So I think it's probably worth it once you do it, but.
So what are some issues that need to be addressed? Staffing.
So let's select a speaker.
No.
Yeah, yeah.
The riverfront
Yeah.
portion.
I'll turn it in.
I would say,
My dad used to say that, well, I want you to
I guess
talk
we're
about
thinking of directing it towards the youth.
Well, that's where.
Maybe more.
Not Joe.
Okay.
Now,
I'd say more engagement on the Riverwalk itself for people to, you know, just read about things that, I don't know.
Issue or
Oh, my
I
gosh.
guess that would be nice.
this is your left shoulder. You're right hand.
Say Amy.
Lucky that
Amy.
is my left.
issues.
Margie may have something by the end of this week.
Much as I do.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, I talked to her last week and, kind of just,
What's wrong
not
with
put
your
pressure,
shoulder?
but just say kind of where are you, you know, because some of these grants are at the end of the
The
month. and
MRI
I've got to
came back.
apply
Yeah.
for it and everything.
Well, I was thinking about it earlier in the week that I want to keep
Well,
my
you
momentum,
can
so I'm
do
gonna
that.
be able to get back together.
So
Have
we're
something
looking
I have to do.
Tell me what
You
it
said
meant.
bring in the
No.
big blow up equipment.
Yeah.
and then the big rotors.
Oh, I was thinking at, the
It is bad. but
Oh,
it
yeah.
means something
Oh, wow.
big. Absolutely nothing I can do. It's just-
Individuals or
If
groups
it
that
was
need
that
to
much
be
material, I
involved.
show it every day.
Yeah.
Fun.
Yeah.
That bad.
So it's just put up with the pain and lack of movement until I can't. do the pain
Run/slash
anymore.
TV stuff or just.
They have like yoga down
The
there.
tennis?
Rotator cuff is a tendon, yeah, that
Yeah.
hooks up here down to your arms. I can still do it. I can't get up there.
Yeah, I can't lift my
If I go slow, but it's painful to get there and
What might be the
it's
first
funny
three
'cause
steps?
I've gone
This actually been
way down
that
because I've
you
left
will do each step.
an experience,
Amy.
but I have to go. for it.
I was gonna say it if you did.
Who's never, you know, body athletic, started playing about the same time I did this month. And so I've gone out with her and her little group and I'm the coach and I play.
All right, let's move on to number two. I don't think we have one piece of paper.
Never get back to it.
Oh, now you give me another piece of paper. News outlets to raise awareness about parks and recreation. So what do we want to call this?
It is, I mean, it's all. Except this
Public
week, that's
service
why I haven't-
announcements.
Yeah. Going to the gym now, the Y, work on everything else that moves.
Yeah.
It's just- it's like you can see the exercise. Yeah, it is. It's like- not prepared, so all the exercise.
What's our marketing budget?
All the muscles around it, your shoulders, so that it helps.
Nothing left.
Negative.
Anything below my waist, I'm good.
But similar to what you just did with the Riverwalk, I think a good step would be for you to understand our marketing program more, so we can ask our marketing coordinator to be a guest speaker at the meeting.
Yeah, something's wrong.
Yeah.
So your attendance completely off that label?
I don't know if
You
it's
can't.
off
So
it,
that-
but it's cut so that it's not doing anything. There's nothing there, that's fun.
Hmm.
And it clicks and then.
Going on, it's not for the light holder.
There's no reason why we can't be.
Yeah, it's a
folks
sport.
people
Yeah.
do want to be
It
involved.
will. I'm gonna figure out how to do it.
Points
My
by
team's not bad. It's like I said, I just gotta change what group I play with.
Talk to radio, talk to TV.
And I
What
think
Maybe you wanted, maybe you could research,
When it
like
was a
what
junior
segments
circuit,
are
yeah,
there,
it-
what
it was
existing
probably-
guest
I can do that.
segments are there, or community
Go out,
interest
smoke 'em.
segments are there?
We can be,
HQR, ECT, you know, find out what those are and then, as an action item and,
Yeah, I'm regretting not wearing that sling.
start to
I wear it for like
prioritize
2 or 3
what
days and then I just. take it off.
topics
Just a
you
little
think you
bit
wanna
of
get out there.
river runs in.
Yes, sir. No.
So another cool opportunity might be to learn about what our marketing coordinator does and our corporate affairs team. So maybe there's an opportunity. You already got that?
Yeah,
That was our number one. But it's okay we like that you're listening across to our team.
I'm amazed at how they do.
I forgot the third one I was writing down.
Sorry, we'll quit helping.
We were developing something, developing a list of topics to talk about.
Talking points.
The third one, yeah, that was kind of limited, like, what was it? Oh,
UFC,
What about,
right.
Oh,
targeted marketing?
We only had
to
two.
Individuals
Yeah,
that
we
live
only
in
had
a park, like
Okay,
if you live
okay,
near
we're good.
Great Park.
I'd say that I didn't see it, but I thought there
I don't
was.
know if you could do
Was up there,
mailing or
but
any
they
kind
got it.
of, just more event awareness to people within a certain distance of the park. You know, if you live next to one of these parks, a monthly newsletter, email, or something like that, giving them access to it.
So that would be something we could recommend once we know what they're currently doing.
Who does send out your Parks and Rec email that you send out like all the time?
Either our marketing coordinator or corporate affairs.
So is the marketing coordinator like an employee or is that an outside
Yes,
vendor? When you have new board members come on the commission, do they come to you to, like, do they go and view all the county divisions as their like introduction to their government position?
There are new city council members. They have a general orientation with the city managers. They don't go department to department. Some of them individually will reach out to departments. And so David Joyner did that, Celeste Andrews did that. Kevin Spears was on the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board before he was a city council member, so he already was super familiar, so he didn't need it. Charlie Rivenbark and the mayor have been here since the dinosaurs, so I say that about myself as well. I would say that if they were sitting right here.
I remember his restaurant.
I remember Rivenbark. Yeah. So Clifford and Luke, they're always super engaging with me individually. Like they'll never hesitate to call me or email me or text me about things. So they're pretty engaged too, but I guess just in a less formal way. So if I had to speculate, I think they're probably more engaged with our department than maybe you might think that they are. It's just not
Adding to
out there.
else to add and like to turn it into a SMART goal statement.
Guys, got about another 30 seconds. Wrap it up.
Well, you know,
Pressure's on.
you're just slow over here on this team.
No, it's because they have they've got so many ideas that they're sitting down there.
So
Oh, look at you. Well, that is good.
Time goes slow over here on this.
All right, Terry. This is the report out. Would you like to do your first goal and what you think you might want to have as your?
Ron said spoke first.
All right, Ron.
No, Ron said spoke first.
What do you want first, or you can?
No, either, anyone you want.
Well, we just had the two, right? I mean, which was the invite to the commission, to the council, and then the university, the two. And both of them were really kind of notice things going out. So specifically it's to get notice to them. That included such things as going through, Terry had suggested a contact of Dawn, who gets things out to council. athletic director at UNCW. Whoever the appropriate person is, just get it out to them. The invitation said should, at least with city council, we were talking about first just new members, but then there's old members who haven't been here either. So an open invitation, you might say, especially the new, we do that just maybe once a year, right after the new year starts, the new council year starts. That would be like right now, pretty much, to get that out. UNCW and CFCC, again, you know, the idea, try to get the student involvement. And I said it could be we get them to actually come in and see what they see and like what they see and file an application to get on the council. I don't know, is there an age group to this participation by city? I mean,
Yeah, I don't think there is an
don't
age.
say an adult, but half of them don't make that. I mean, age, go by age. If you're, I would assume at least 18, but I don't know.
I'm assuming it's 18.
Yeah. But anyway, you know, that would be the idea that they might be able to do that. Or some other talk of discussion that it may be that they're coming here, they can learn certain projects going on around the city, and some of the students can get service hours that they're required to get. There was an athletic department has that or something. Get involved in the community. Anybody else say something that because I'm throwing it all out there, but neither one of us is involved. It's just getting that communication together is really the biggest part of it.
I guess the only thing we didn't address really is that we can do the same thing, find out, but you're saying Cape Fear Community College, I have no idea who the contact is, how to get, but we can figure that out. It's the same process, get a contact, get it out there.
I don't know, that's all the notes I got.
Any discussion at the table or thoughts about, let's, since you're on the UNCW and CC student involvement, anybody on Zoom or here wants to add anything?
Can you just develop as like an internship program so maybe you can have some volunteers, they get credit? Or is that not good, actually?
No, it's
They-
great,
they
but I mean,
either of those
we
have a
do
partners
get
program.
inquiries
In the school,
yeah.
from UNCW for interns
We do
currently.
get interns, yeah. Is that an application process that they?
Through human resources.
So my suggestion for the anybody on Zoom who'd like to comment about the action area, UNCW, CFCC student involvement?
I'd like to comment that Zoom is a lot more difficult than I thought.
Sorry, Ingrid.
Oh, it's not your fault, Sally.
I would say that I think one of the key things to identify with that group is figuring out exactly what we're looking for, not so much to the nth degree, but providing the instructors of these students either in the Parks and Recreation or similarly titled programs at CFCC, I'm not as familiar with those, is giving them specifics on what we're wanting. If not, we'll end up with some vagaries that tend to seem to be dismissive of the purpose of why we're asking. And so I think if we had some specifics, whether that is a member of the advisory board or of the Parks and Rec team visiting these classes, to be able to kind of come together for what we're looking for, I think will give us more traction. From my previous experience as a guest lecturer in those types of programs, or as my former life, reaching out to them and looking for things, we get a lot of benign things because either they're not city residents, they may be North Carolinians, and they may have a deep passion for this, but it may be at their local level or their specific discipline of commercial recreation or outdoor recreation or whatever it may be. There may be a little bit limited buy-in, which can be a bit of a fire extinguisher on our efforts on that side of things.
It seemed to me that when we were talking about this last month, we were talking about connecting with them as customers of Parks and Recreation programs and how we could better do that, not connecting with them as members of the board. So I guess.
Well, I don't think we were looking for the board members. That was just an offshoot. If they came saw what we did because of the invitation we extended just to come see what we do. They might take an interest to file an application, but I like what they're saying. I mean, that was part of the beginning of this, is the framework of that invitation. I mean, we can't just say, come visit, you know, you're not gonna get many people. So it's gotta be either, I don't know, on a presentation, but a document, something. Let them know what we do, what they might be interested in, you know, see if it rings somebody's bell, that kind of thing.
So maybe to make this actionable, your action or goal statement could be something like develop a plan to engage UNCW and CFC students in the next 12 to 24 months. That could sort of be maybe something like that. And then you come up with, you know, go do a guest lecture at school, or, you know, develop a flyer, I don't know, whatever the committee that works on this goal wants to develop.
Have the department brief us on what they're currently doing to engage students.
So, in saying that too, an actionable item, because that's what I was thinking. Obviously, for all these things we're doing, some committee's got to be formed, right? So do we do that? Well, we don't meet in July. We're not gonna do it tonight, so it won't be till August or something. So we got some time. Okay. Zach, you know what committee you're on, don't you?
Standing committee.
Yeah. Really? Forget the athletic director. We got Zach and UNCW. You got us anywhere.
Do you want to move on to the next one?
Yeah.
Invite city council member as a guest.
That really, we kind of covered that. I mean,
Okay.
same notion is, we've got to, I don't think that has to be quite as formal. They know what we do. It's just, we're inviting them, and especially a new one that he or she just hasn't been here before.
Is Celeste the newest?
Celeste and David came on at the same time.
Yeah, they did, yeah. Oh, at the same time, so that was 2 years ago. Okay.
You know, your comment about thinking about student collaborators as customers. What if we had a, you know, an Althea Gibson or some place that's got a ton of courts, you know, college night where nobody but college kids, have the facility somehow appeal to on a specific time and place to tennis or whatever kind of sport. I just try to cultivate customers. That's what I'm trying to do, is get people to come if we had a college night or something. It's ill form.
The city put on a nice little show when the Greenfield dedication, when that was, I guess you call it dedication. Anyway, you know, when they resurfaced it and changed it to dedicated pickleball courts, they had a table there and little mementos and this, that, and the other. Soft drinks for anybody who would show up, just for go out and hit pickleball. But it was a nice effort on the city's part.
I like the idea of identifying college nights at various locations. Again, we had this kind of sidebar over here. We don't have a special events staff that we plan special events that are produced by the city. We do July 4th and we do Christmas, that's it. We have somebody who, we support special events by acting as a city liaison, and we administer the permitting process. So we would need to engage like Greater Wilmington Tennis Association and the instance of Althea Gibson to say, hey, is this something that you would consider putting on out at MP? And then identify other partners and other rec facilities like at Muni, you know, the Friends of Muni, you know, think about having a college day at Muni. It's a good idea. Action item.
Getting a little tight on time here, so let's move over to Riverfront. How can it be used by kids more?
So we had the Riverwalk activation, and our action A was evaluate the city's efforts to implement the Riverwalks activation plan in order to increase use, particularly among youth. And some of the issues that we looked at were just general safety, lighting. And I know there are multiple projects going on down there, I think, to address some of those issues currently. So maybe once those are completed, some of those issues will be remedied. And just looked at some sort of equipment that we could put down there to increase youth engagement. I don't know if it would be something with the park. I don't know if you had like a youth day down there where you had a blow up slides, stuff like that. But obviously that's another event issue where we're running into staffing and how to schedule.
Well, we
all
do
that.
have pop-up events. Our Fit for Fun Center does pop-up events and they've been there before. So, somehow incorporating that into, have at least 3 of
course,
those a year. We're in the process of replacing some playground elements at Riverfront Park that we had to take out. So, having a deadline that we get that done by, could be an appropriate goal. And then with the design that's currently underway for the next phase of Water Street Park down in front of Federal Courthouse, support adding some sort of youth element there.
Yeah, to individual groups, we talked about Fit for Fun was one, so that's obviously already taken care of, but just some sort of Wilmington running fitness groups, and they may already have events down there, but just getting more outdoor enthusiasts, people that are looking for places to go and run and enjoy the riverfront, and have an event down there for people to get on there. I know we talked about other fitness things like yoga, if they do like a yoga class down there, depending on whatever the weather is right for it. And then most products kind of less.
The key thing was having the board briefed on the activation plan.
Yeah, so the first thing we were gonna do is give a presentation on the Riverwalk assessment study that was completed in the last 18 months or so. It was commissioned by the CBB, but with cities, some of the cities' ARPA funding. So there's a report on that this thick and a very long presentation. We can give you a portion of the presentation. I think that's a great place to start so that you see what those recommendations are. There's a committee that meets regularly on how do we implement these recommendations. I think you guys having the benefit of seeing that will help further make this goal actionable. So I think that's the first step.
Great. Anything from the Zoom group on Riverwalk activation?
I think they covered it for me with the safety issues and the lighting, and it is great that Fit for Fun is utilizing some of it. Yeah.
Yeah, they pretty much covered it for me as well. But in addition, I didn't know if we could connect with get the kids out there, maybe connect with New Hanover County Schools somehow. And to get the parents involved so that of course they can bring their kids out there to the riverfront to have more kid-friendly events and stuff like that. And then I do agree with the fitness. And then I don't know if they add music to it as well, because when people hear music, I would think it'll make them want to move in even more. But I agree with everything everyone has mentioned so far, but just adding about New Hanover County Schools, maybe have us to come out there and, see if we can partner up with New Hanover County Schools to get the kids out there at the riverfront.
Demetrius. Zach also just sent me a note about riverfront. Review park offerings from cities with a public park in a riverfront or similar waterway with an emphasis on free or low-cost youth programs to identify trends on new program offerings. Have a review period is August through December with adding programs for summer 2026. Evaluate these programs through assessment, either formal or informal, and determine repeat offerings or updates to programs. Okay.
question. Could the Parks and Rec, could we ever have the liability to have an open mic down at the riverfront where, I mean, I'm sure, someone would have to, rehearse the band, make sure, you don't have anybody coming out profane or, the usual things. But to have a legit, battle of the bands, these teenage bands that are around. I'm just wondering if that'd be something under, that'd be more of a commercial.
I mean, somebody would need to rent a facility and put that on. I think it'd be amazing. Again, we don't have a staff role that would put, or a budget that would put something like that together, but I'd love to see it.
Yeah.
That'd be a Live Nation negotiation, right?
No, I mean, we can have, there are rentals that are outside of Live Nation events, like, beer, bourbon and barbecue, feast or taste. Thank you.
Yeah, I was
And
thinking
others.
Greenfield Lake or venues other than, Live Oak Bank Pavilion. I mean, that's just too much money to rent.
I thought we were still on the river.
Find a space on the Riverwalk where it'd be big enough to hold 100 people and have an open mic down there.
I think once, Water Street, the next phase of Water Street Park is done, that's a great location for something like that.
Cool.
Here, you want to power through to the last one?
I
And last one is
think we have
ours.
the last one.
Because of the time.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'm sorry. I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, we'll be quick. Just looking at increasing, I guess, public service announcements. And we wanted to learn what, the marketing department currently has in place. And really try to cater it, specialize it a little bit towards people that live within a certain area of a park. So if you do live near Human Creek Park, you might get some sort of different updates, whether it's marketing through the mail, emails or something, just letting the community know what's going on at their own park within their area, kind of raising awareness for that. Also wanted to talk about developing a list of talking points of things that are going on, so that if we get asked questions or we're out and about, we can kind of be a liaison for the Parks and Rec department to kind of share what's going on, what we have planned, what's good, bad, the ugly, and try to kind of be a voice in the field as well. And any way that we can expand marketing through the news outlets, increase awareness for parks and events and stuff like that going on.
So I will grab all your notes when you leave and we'll compile them, try and capture what you all shared with us today. And then when we come back at our next meeting, I'll give them to you ahead of time, you can review them, we can tweak them if needed, and then hopefully vote on your SMART goals for your work plan. Thank you so much. Thanks, you guys.
Okay,
Good work.
before we adjourn,
one more.
sorry, chair report, Amy, one question. And I don't know if I just got the email list, but I realized I don't get the monthly report anymore. It's so dynamic that y'all guys put out with the financial.
Yeah, let's make sure that y'all are on that.
Yeah, for some, I used to get it, and then for some reason, I don't get it. It's a wonderful report.
Definitely.
Okay, thank y'all. It is 6:30. Oh,
I'm so sorry, I'm just gonna make sure we're gonna vote for officers.
we have time to do that? Okay.
So we did not receive any nominations for chair, but I did speak with our current chair and vice chair, and they're both willing to carry on. So if there are any other nominations, speak now.
Who's not here?
I think everybody's here.
Except Rachel.
It's just that
Yeah.
love of power. It's so.
Yes, let's vote.
Okay, yeah. So we can put it to a vote. All in favor of two nominations, retaining the chair and the vice chair for the year beginning 25-26 year beginning July 1. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, So it passes.
Awesome.
Thank you all.
Motion to adjourn.
Yeah, motion to adjourn second.
I'll second.
Second, thank you. Thank you all.
Thank
See y'all
you.
in August, yes.